talking about being manifestors. Oh, I'm a this and that. But they have all these doubts and all these different things, and they wonder why. It's like, well, I prayed this and I did this and I did this, and nothing has happened. It's because they doubt. Because the universe will never manifest anything until you believe it. And that's one of the secrets. There's lots of little keys you got to discover. It's like, well, why? Other people do this and this, no problem, because they believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell Cindy, it's all in the belief. It's all something that's inside here. And when I see something and I pull it into my reality and I believe it, it just happens. And it's not something I'm trying to do. I just like, oh, this is what I saw. And it just sits in the back of my subconscious. Later on, it's like, there, it happened. And I've been doing this since I was a little boy. I've always been showing things. And sometimes I'm really, really not sure. And then I tell the universe, okay, I'm confused. I don't understand this. And I'll put it on the shelf and I'm like, repeat it over in different ways to like grasp or get the idea of what it's all about. And then I'll see something manifest or happen around it. It was like when my granddad told me as a young boy, about 14 years old, one day way in the future, you will understand this. And he gave me a riddle.
Mm-hmm.
And that riddle confused me until I was around 30, or it was earlier when he gave me that riddle. And I got to 30 and I was in Edmonton and I stopped on that corner and then he started laughing. I heard the riddle and then I looked and there was something going on that all of a sudden I had the answer to the riddle, but I had to carry that in my subconscious. And I never doubted my granddaddy, just one day you will see. And this is where scientists, genetics, biologists, and that, they have all this answers and it gets shown to them, but they never believe it. It's like where they stream in all these atoms and they have these two slits. And these atoms do certain things. But soon as human beings come in, they change. They literally become aware of what the human being is thinking. And instead of just being their natural self, they alter and they change and they do whatever it is they're wanting to see. And it's really, really interesting because I see many people, they have this way of going in and meditating, like sitting and staring at a petri dish for 5 years to figure out why this gene did this or this mold did that, or why did this grow, or even that one where they created the energy like the sun.
The hydrogen collider.
No, this person was sitting in his thing and he put some water and he did this and he did this and he did this and he actually created energy like the sun.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one thing he left out.
Mm-hmm.
And he went back to try to recreate it and he couldn't. So all the other scientists says, oh, you were wrong. He wasn't wrong, he was right. He just couldn't remember one part of the thing. So maybe he's still, all these years later, still trying to do this experiment, but he hasn't stopped to think, well, what was that one thing that I did that made this hydrogen reactor happen like the sun? And it just started creating all the energy. And it was just a small thing, and you can see the bubbles coming and the energy was just coming off, and it was free energy. And he did this experiment, and somehow he did something, but he didn't pay attention. I mean, this is what Bella's lab does. They do all this, all of them, they sit in there and they play around with all kinds of things. I met a guy in Edmonton, and he worked at the U of A, the University of Alberta in Edmonton. And they get crystals from all over the world, and they would radiate the crystals. They do all kinds of things to amplify the energy in the crystals. They'd even put an electrode up here, an electrode, and they would fire energy, thousands of watts into this crystal, and the crystal would just explode into white powdered dust. Like literally would change it. And I'm like, this is what they did in Atlantis. This is how they blew up things in Atlantis. And I'm like, you're an Atlantean, you're repeating the same thing. And if you do the wrong thing, you're going to wipe all of Alberta out. But they play with these things. And like I say, what do you do with that after? When they radiated these rocks to be so dangerous, like what do they do with them? And I'm like, that's really, really crazy, but he wants to understand and he doesn't care if he blows up the world or not.
You were saying something and kind of went to something else. So staring at a petri dish for 5 years, and like, what is the purpose behind that? Where you,
So inside yourself, you have these abilities and gifts. You create something. All of a sudden, you created a hydrogen reactor. Have you been paying attention to what you actually did and why it happened? Why did the universe all of a sudden reveal that to you? And we all have gifts. We're all on a path. We're all doing things. We're either going to do something to really, really help this planet, or we're going to do something that's going to really destroy this planet. And every one of us carries something to either impact it in a positive way or not. Same with spirituality and belief. If you really believe in something, somewhere on your timeline, you're going to get that answer and you're going to manifest and create it. And this is where the universe tests you with everything.
yeah,
And Cindy wants a lot of answers, but she's jumping here, 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 here. If she just stayed focused to here, all her answers would end up here. But she wants one answer here, one answer here, one answer there. So she has all these answers, and then she gets to a halfway point. She looks around and says, I don't have any answers. So she goes back to the beginning and she starts all over and does this and gets to this point. And then she looks and she goes, I don't have the answer. And I watch people do things. I see many, many people who can really, really meditate. They got a meditative focus that's bazillion times beyond anybody. Nothing distracts them. You can fart in their face and they won't even notice it.
not Benny.
You can have car crashes. People can be smashing into their cars. They still will not let go of their focus on what they're doing. But when it comes to the rest of the life and reality, they can't manifest and create anything.
Because all they focused on was being a really good meditator.
Or whatever it is they carry inside them. There's a gift that they lock in. They're like a pit bull. Once their teeth lock in, they never let go until they manifest and have that answer. Einstein did that. Tesla did that. Many, many others did that. They had this ability and they would sit here until it all happened. I see scientists, biologists, doctors, and all kinds of people doing this. But when it comes to the rest of their lives in reality, they can't manifest anything.